It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your line of degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea.
Y'all know we gotta run it back. We gotta run it back, y'all. Get in here.
It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your line of degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea.
Double tap that screen for your girl. Double tap that screen, y'all. What's going on, Diamond Gang? I know I love that song. Danny did her thing on that song. You hear me? I love it. But y'all know I'm back, so we're going to get into a couple things. Y'all know they just started the investigation for Zorro Ranch. I'm going to get a little bit into the war. And y'all know I'm getting ready to get into some things with Trump. For every time he contradicts himself, If I got a dollar for every time he did this, I would be rich. Let me pull up my screen. Let's get into it. Let's go, Diamond Gang. All I'm asking for is a like. Just hit the like. That's it. That's all. Please hit the like. Let's go. Oh, hold on. Let me say what's up to my people. What's up, Robin? What's up, EJ? What's going on? All right, let's go.
So it seems we've gotten into kind of a rut. We know about Trump Russia from the Mueller report and the bipartisan Senate Intelligence
Trump Russia. Pay attention. Trump Russia
report, and from Trump calling it a hoax, which we know is his tell word for something that is definitely true. And we know about Trump Epstein.
Trump Epstein. Come on.
Because Trump shows up somewhere around 1 million times in the Epstein files, and because of the sloppy job that the MAGA Department of Justice did to try to cover up some of the key Trump documents.
They just recently doxed more survivors. They uploaded, I want to say, 20 pages, 21 pages. Yeah, let's go.
But there's also Epstein Russia. And so maybe...
So what he's trying to tell y'all is that Trump had a relationship with Epstein. Epstein had a relationship with Russia. We've been talking about this.
Instead of Trump Russia and Trump Epstein, the triangle here is actually Trump Epstein Russia. And
you get it? Trump Epstein Russia. And I'm going to show y'all why.
We don't understand it unless we think of it all together. So that's where further digging needs to be done. It would explain why suddenly this strange guy, Jeffrey Epstein, got access to so much money, how he was able to get introductions.
Epstein was a spy. He was intelligence. I don't care what nobody say. And I believe Israel has things over Trump's head. Yes, I do. I believe they do.
And it would also explain why Trump, a man who insists on being dominant in every public relationship, goes all submissive around one person, Vladimir Putin.
And that's the truth, and nothing but the truth.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. I had a very good call with President Putin. We had a lot.
This was just yesterday, Diamond Gang. He talked to Putin. Let's go.
A lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We obviously talked then about the Middle East, and he wants to be helpful. And he was very.
He wants to be helpful, so he's talking to Putin about what's going on, and Russia wants to be helpful.
Impressed with what he saw because nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. You know, Iran was a very powerful military country.
Epstein actually stated that
Now pay attention. Epstein said this a long time ago about Trump. It's in the files. Let's go.
Bombing Iran would be a way that Donald Trump would distract the American public. This is an insane story. So here's the EFTA number if you're curious and you want.
Anybody looking up the files, there go the number right there. You can look this document up.
Look this up yourself. These messages were sent between Jeffrey Epstein and a number of other individuals. You can see them redacted up there in 2018. And essentially at this point in this conversation, Epstein and those other unnamed individuals are chatting about President Trump and the world political stage. I'm just going to read you these messages. Listen in.
Now remember, 2019, Trump was in office.
You guys need to understand that he is psychotic. That's talking about Trump, and would not blink twice at encouraging an attack on us so he can leap to the country's defense mindset. If I go down, I'm taking everyone with. Then you can see Jeffrey Epstein says, cornering a rat, never a good idea. Basically, they talk about Trump wanting to save his family. I believe this is when the Russia investigation was going on and things were kind of closing in around Trump back during his first presidency. And it's interesting because you can see here Epstein states it's not only him, it's his family, business, etc. I believe that Mueller is making a mistake and treating him like he is organized crime. No organized crime leader has a 1 million man army. Before this, Epstein states either he traded the Kurds to Turkey for Saudi or he prefers to remove his family before he burns down this house. Then this next message states, Probably the first has also struck my mind. Maybe he will extradite Glenn and company. Why would he remove the family? Then the message from Epstein, we only had 2K troops there. If he were to bomb Iran, they would be slaughtered. So just keep this message in mind as we go forward, because this is just so crazy. And then someone says back to Epstein, oh, that would be crazy, talking about bombing Iran. And Epstein writes back, not from his perspective. So yeah, I just found this to be...
Epstein called this. He called this back in 2019. He called this back in 2019.
incredibly on the nose, obviously. Epstein and his friends / partners, whoever he was talking to in this email chain, discussing Trump being backed into a corner as U.S. president, backed into a corner, I'm assuming through investigations and mounting public scrutiny. And then
here we go. Trump is backed into a corner. Them fouls was haunting the hell out of him.
And stating that he would choose to bomb Iran. And Epstein's own confidant saying that would be crazy. And Epstein saying, not really if it was him. So I don't know. What do you guys make of this? To me, this is absolutely...
He know his friend, his boy.
Crazy. And there are a lot of references actually to Epstein and Iran within the Epstein files, which I'm going to talk about in the next few days.
I keep telling y'all, they claim that Israel have some things that was not put out there in the Epstein files on Trump.
Oh, he's going to start a...
Now, this is your boy back in April 2023. Pay attention, because we're going to go all the way up to the current date. Let's go.
Because they said I had that personality to start a war. They remember that? Oh, we can't vote for him. He's going to start a war. No, I used my personality that we didn't have to have wars. I was the first president in
February 2024. Let's go.
Decades who started no new wars. Who started no
March.
new wars.
March 2024.
No new wars. No new wars. We don't need the wars. Foreign lands, countries you've never heard of, countries that don't even want us there. I was the first president in decades who started no new wars. I was the first president in decades who started no new wars. We will expel the warmongers from our government. You know, we never got into a war with me. I have a great record. We had peace. We had prosperity.
Where are we at today? War. And guess what? Iran ramped up. They ramped it up yesterday. They ramping it up. So, yeah. And today was one of the worst ever as far as bombings. They went in today.
We had no wars. We had no wars. That started no wars. We didn't have a war. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will expel the warmongers from our government.
What happened? What happened? Once again, what happened? Contradiction, a walking contradiction.
And we had no wars. When you see all the people that died in these horrible wars in the Middle East and everything else, countries.
The other day, he said that there's going to be more to come. But right here, he's saying all the people that died in those horrible wars. Okay.
Just didn't want us. Look at Trump. Just look at this guy. He's going to go to war. He's going to take us. No. Look at me. I'm the one that kept us out of war. You know, I'm the only president that didn't start a war. I didn't start a war.
This president, no wars.
Started no wars. You're going to end up in a war. Or war or no war. They like a war. They love wars. You know, they love killing people. It's so wonderful. You know, I'm the only president in many, many decades that...
He can't say that no more, gang. He definitely can't claim this again.
Didn't start a war. They're the party of... wars. I was the first president in decades who started no new war. There were wars all over. He said, bring back Trump. It'll all end. It all ended. We had no problem. I'm going to keep you out of wars. I kept you out of wars. We had no war.
Do me a favor. Hit the like, gang, please.
Wars with Donald Trump as your president. Remember when crooked Hillary Clinton used to say, he's going to get us into a war. Look at him. Look at his rhetoric.
Look where we at war. And it's not ending anytime soon.
I said, no, my rhetoric's going to keep us out of wars. That's what happened. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
Wow. What a smart, reasonable man. Let's see what more he has to say.
The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? He's giving us reasons. He's giving us the money that we spent previous in the past.
Of lives, we don't even have it. Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Great nations do not want to fight endless wars.
Great nations do not want to fight endless war. I'm with that. This is an endless war. It's going to be ongoing.
They lied. Okay. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none.
What?
There were no weapons of mass destruction.
Okay, so I'm seeing an anti-war, against foreign intervention, a man who funds himself. This seems like a very good president. Now, this was many, many years ago, but surely this man who seems to be intellectual, smart, reasonable, surely he didn't just switch up on his sentiments, right?
I'm going to bomb
Let's
the
go.
out of him.
What?
True.
He went from that to that.
Surely he didn't just switch up on his sentiments, right?
I'm going to bomb the out of him. It's true. I don't care. And this had to be done. They were very close to a nuclear weapon. The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had.
So, boom, overnight, he went from no war to I'm going to bomb the shit out of him. Let's go.
Missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America.
Never mind.
As I said to you before, I think that we are an incredibly ruthless.
I pulled this piece because he's going to explain what goes on when we go to war.
Country. The amount of murder and mayhem that we've created around the world is just unbelievable. You know, I was looking.
And what we do basically to get them to bow down. We break other countries. We break them.
The study the other day put out by Lancet, which is a scientific journal, and they did a study. This was put out, you can see it on the internet. It was put out in November of 2025. And what the article did was it looked at sanctions, American sanctions, from 1971 to 2021, 1971 to 2021. And it asked what were the consequences of those sanctions. And we murdered 38 million people.
Did y'all hear that? 38 million people. 38 million. And this is from 71. This is why they got Congress involved to help make these decisions. Let's go.
38 million people. The amount of havoc we have wrought on the Middle East in recent years is just stunning. You think about the consequences of the Iraq War, what we do in places like Venezuela, Cuba, Iran. You understand we're using this tremendous economic leverage we have to basically starve people, to make them suffer, to inflict great punishment on them so that they'll rise up against their government. You understand that this is what we're doing in Venezuela. This is what we're doing in Iran.
And that's exactly what Trump's trying to make Iran do.
Inflicting massive punishment on these people. Given all that, I find it very difficult to talk about the United States as a noble country.
Why did Donald Trump go to war against Iran?
Let's talk about it.
Very good question.
Thank you very much.
And it only has about 6 or 8 answers, depending on which one you want to pick at any given time.
If you had to explain in 10 seconds, why did we go to war now?
It's a very good question. And the truth is, we don't know the answer, right? They have given us multiple versions.
Y'all ready to hear the multiple versions that they gave us for the reason why we are at war right now? There is no clean, clear-cut answer. None.
Of that story all week. He went for it now because he had a feeling, according to his press secretary, that something bad might happen.
Not proof, but he had a feeling. He had a feeling, and then he turned around and blamed it on them.
And that Iran was going to attack. He went to war because the Israelis were going to go to war anyway, and therefore they decided they had to go with the Israelis, otherwise there would be retaliation against American forces. That was Marco Rubio.
And that's where we come in to say Israel got something over Trump, but let's go.
The president said that they needed to go after the nuclear program, which, of course, he had already told us was obliterated.
Yeah.
And
He did, and come to find out it's not. They still got materials, which they're trying to send troops on the ground in there to get. Let's go. We'll talk about that later.
We had to go after the ballistic missile program, which intelligence tells us is not yet the threat that he said it was. So why now is still an open question. Right. I think a lot of reasons are he felt emboldened by Venezuela, and he's becoming increasingly comfortable with power as he goes further into a second term.
Remember this 8 months ago?
Here we go. Another contradiction. Let's go.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
No, they're not.
This is what the Trump admin said last night.
They're probably a week away from having industrial grade bomb-making material.
Did they lie then, or are they lying now?
Please go ahead.
Mr. President.
Now, this young man, I got to give it to him. I got to give it to him. He did his thing right here. Let's go.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it.
I just don't know enough about it. How about saying it's being investigated, not blaming it on somebody else?
Something that I was told is under investigation, but tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows.
Iran don't have a tomahawk. Let's go.
I'm willing to live with that report. Yeah, please.
We need to find out who
If you're willing to live with it, then why lie about it?
this reporter is, because this was spectacular. Let's rewind a second. Trump was answering a question about the strike on a girls' school in Iran.
And whether it's Iran, who also has some tomahawks, I wish they had more, but whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries.
Researchers and reporters have confirmed that the missile...
Pay attention, because this is the proof right here that they don't have one.
Used on that school was a tomahawk, and neither Israel nor Iran have them. So this reporter asks,
neither Israel or Iran has them. He just told another lie. Let's go.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Can we just take a second and appreciate how firm he was with that question? You're the only person who's saying this because you're full of shit.
Because I just don't know enough about it.
Hit the like, gang, please. I'm just asking you guys just to hit the like. I'm not asking for a super chat, a cash app, a super sticker, none of that. Just a simple like, please. And thank you.
I think it's something that I was told is under investigation, but tomahawks are used by others, as you know.
A handful of other countries have Tomahawk missiles. The United Kingdom, Australia, Japan.
Y'all hear that? A handful of countries. And for the person that said we sold it to them, we're giving you the countries right here that has them. Let's go.
Is under investigation, but tomahawks are used by others, as you know.
A handful of other countries have Tomahawk missiles. The United Kingdom, Australia, Japan, Netherlands, but not Israel or Iran. So his theory is somehow his enemy was armed by the United States, or he's full of shit and the United States hit that school. Massive props to that reporter. If you know who that is, tag them in the comments, because we need to see more direct questions like that to people in power.
Brothers butchered by Iranian-backed roadside bombs and well-armed militias, thousands of our own.
Now, here we go. They're getting ready to say that we did not start this war. Okay? We didn't start it. This is what they're saying.
Didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it. Their war on Americans has become our retribution against their Ayatollah and his death cult.
If we didn't knock out Midnight Hammer, if we didn't knock out their Iranian potential, if we didn't do that with Midnight Hammer, they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it long before now. And at a minimum, Israel would have been annihilated.
Again, they were in negotiations. They were in negotiations.
annihilated while rapidly building conventional ballistic missiles. They were going to do it all at the same time that threatened our overseas bases and soon could have reached even our homeland. The regime's intention was to use this exponentially growing ballistic missile threat to make it virtually impossible to prevent them from obtaining a nuclear weapon. The situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return, and the United States found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and Pete and others would.
You hear it? This is right here where he blames them. He blames his people. This is it right here. Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco, what?
Telling me, Marco, so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack us. I thought they would,
So
if we didn't do
because of
this.
what they were telling you, you thought that they were going to attack, is what he's saying. So he jumped the gun.
At the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And they attacked their neighbors. And their neighbors were largely neutral, or at least weren't going to be involved. And they got attacked. They were going to take over the Middle East. If we did not hit them, they were going to take over the Middle East. They were going to take over the Middle East. Those weapons were aimed
All I'm saying is, who is he trying to convince? Himself or us?
at Middle Eastern countries that had nothing to do with this. They were going to take over the Middle East, and they were going to try and destroy.
When somebody repeats themselves over and over again, 9 times out of 10, they're trying to convince themselves of their lie.
Israel. So we stopped it with good timing. Conference, and we might have had a much different press conference if we had a press conference at all. But they were going to hit them. If I didn't hit them first, they were going to hit our allies.
Y'all hear how many times he keeps saying this over and over? And it over and over. This is hilarious.
Allies first. I believe, upon information and belief, but I believe that he was going to. They were going to take over the Middle East. They were looking to take over the Middle East. They were looking to tap us along before they hit. And I thought they were going to hit. And if they hit us first, that would have been a very bad thing.
Mr. President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did that pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these.
Okay, right here, he says it clear as day. We were having negotiations. Of course, he's going to call them lunatics, but they were in negotiations. And from the prime minister, what his account is that they were going pretty well.
Lunatics. And it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators.
Now, here he says he felt strongly about it, but the clip prior to, he had to say that at least, I want to say, 12 times.
People that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have.
And I'm sorry, gang, I don't like the word think. When you say I think, that's not you being sure. I don't like that word at all.
Forced Israel's hand, but Israel was ready and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact because.
And from what I'm hearing, Iran is kicking Israel's butt right now.
Virtually everything they have has been knocked out now.
Donald Trump's senior advisors are now telling him to get out of Iran because
His senior advisors.
the war is backfiring on him in a major way. According to the Wall Street Journal, some of Trump's advisors in recent days have encouraged him to articulate a plan to extract the United States from the war and make the case
Now,
that
this is how they're planning to extract. We're going to get into it more at the end. But what they're trying to do is take whatever they have as far as nuclear. They're trying to take it and be done with it. I hope it happens. I'm being serious. I hope it happens.
military had largely achieved its objectives. While many in Donald Trump's conservative base still support the operation, some of the president's advisors have privately expressed concerns that a longer war could deplete that support. Trump has also been briefed on polling showing that the Republican Party's numbers are going down, his numbers are going down, and that the American people do not support this war. And of course, Trump's advisors have watched with alarm as oil prices shot to over $100 a barrel. They've also gotten calls from annoyed Republicans about the midterm election. They're getting nervous. But a senior administration official,
I bet they are, because it's more than enough that we're all basically, a lot of us is against this war.
said that Trump will not stop fighting until he can claim a satisfactory victory, whatever that looks like. So Trump's advisors are now pleading with him to get out of the war, as he says he's going to bomb Iran 20 times harder than they've already been hit. So maybe some friction in the
And they did bomb today hard.
White House.
This is not 2003. This is not endless nation building under those types of quagmires we saw under Bush or Obama. It's not even close. Our generation of soldier will not let that happen again, and nor will this president, who very clearly ran against those kinds of never-ending, nebulously scoped missions. Those days are dead.
We're going to see if it's dead. We're going to see if this is not a never-ending war.
Instead, we're winning decisively with brutal efficiency, total air dominance, and an unbreakable will to accomplish the president's objectives. As President Trump declared yesterday, we're crushing the enemy.
He said this yesterday, and they told no lies. He did not lie.
In an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force. We will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated. But we do so on our timeline and at our choosing. For example, today will be yet again our most intense day of strikes inside.
And it's been very intense. This was earlier today. It's been very intense. I have some footage. I don't want to spoil it, but I got some footage.
Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes, intelligence more refined and better than ever.
Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared?
Well, I think
for
you could
this war
say
to
it
last
both.
for?
The beginning, it's the
This is what I'm saying. Walking contradiction. Is it just beginning, or is it almost over?
beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar. They have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone.
They do have leadership, and I believe that he was harmed yesterday.
So, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But
we have some important Iran news right now. The United States will launch its biggest attacks on Iran to date today, according to Pete Hegseth, all while a top Iranian official is issuing a threat on Donald Trump's life. Ali Larijani says this afternoon, or rather this morning.
Iran is not backing down. They said no, they're not bowing down.
Warning, quote, the Iranian people are not afraid of your threats. Be careful or you will be the one who is eliminated.
I'm going to show you, they actually struck at Israel. I'm going to show you what happened and who was unalived and everything.
Threatening Donald Trump's life again, as Pete Hegseth today came out in his press conference and said that today will be the most intense strikes on Iran to date. Now, in addition, the United States is having some buyer's remorse today. Why? Because Ukraine, according to Axios, offered in August of last year to sell its technology regarding drones to the United States. Even made a PowerPoint for the United States on how they can down Iranian drones. How does Ukraine know this? Well, Ukraine's been.
Remember, gang, we talked about this yesterday about Trump's sons making money off these drones.
Been dealing with it since Russia has been using Iranian drones. The United States said no then. Now the United States is asking for that help now from Ukraine, out of all places. Spread the word. Follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. More to come soon.
The U.S. is winning and unbreakable, and today will be the most intense day of strikes, says Pete Hegseth, and Iran is losing badly and standing alone. That is the takeaway from the Defense Secretary's latest update on the war in Iran. And General Dan Kane, he's the chair of the Joint Chiefs, put that into numbers. He said that the U.S. military has now struck more than 5,000 targets in Iran.
Didn't I tell y'all? They went hard. They went hard today. They went in.
In the first 11 days, more than 50 naval vessels. Iran's missile attacks have fallen by 90%, and its one-way attack drones have fallen by 83%. The general also implied air superiority over the skies of Iran, and that surface-to-air missiles are not a factor anymore. But Iran is being defiant. Foreign Minister Abbas
Big time they're being defiant.
Araghchi says there will be no ceasefire and the country will keep on fighting. And we have been seeing that across the Gulf with more Iranian missiles and drones flying towards Dubai, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. These countries all hoping that the war will end because its oil sites, gas sites, and ports keep getting hit and more people are thinking of leaving. And while Secretary Hegseth said that Iran's missile launches have dropped by 90%, Iran says that the success rate of its missiles and drones is actually over 90%. And while President Trump said that he sees the war ending soon, which pulled oil and
I'm not going to lie. I hope they get in there and I hope they do what they got to do and end it. But I just don't see it.
gas prices down, he is keeping his options open. And he said that if Iran keeps blocking the crucial Strait of Hormuz, which normally funnels 20% of the world's oil by ship, then the U.S. would hit Iran harder. He said 20 times harder.
David, you have some reporting on Senator Coons' concerns about a potential special operation inside.
Here we go. This is the special operation that I was telling you guys about them going in and taking what Iran has. Okay, let's take a look.
Iran, what are you learning?
So this was brought up. It was first reported by NBC News and Axios that the president was considering sending in special operations troops to somehow seize and then move out of Iran its enriched uranium. There's 1,000 pounds of enriched uranium that Iran has.
They trying to take that and be done with it. Let's see.
This isn't enriched to a level to make a bomb, but the concern is that they could somehow enrich it in the future and make nuclear bombs. The problem is, as the senator said, it's held in 3 different sites. The U.S. bombed these sites in the past, so they're underground sites, so the tunnels have collapsed. So you'd literally have American forces coming in, trying to set up a perimeter around these places, digging down.
Oh, wow. That's scary. So they would literally have to dig down in the ground to obtain it, gang. That's this mission.
Into the ground to get to this enriched uranium. I spoke to a non-proliferation expert. Under President Obama, when there was a nuclear deal, international inspectors got in. They saw the uranium. It's sort of held in these metal tubes. They're about the size of scuba tanks, and they would need to collect all of them and get them out. The other problem is President Trump then pulled out of that nuclear deal. The Iranians may have removed some of those tubes. They might have put fake tubes in.
So just think, if they go and they do this mission and what they dig up is fake, that would be crazy. It could be possible. They could have moved it to a different different location.
There. But the point of all this is just a very, very dangerous operation that could last quite a while at 3 different sites across Iran.
So very dangerous and can last quite a while, which means, again, more proof that it's not over. It's just starting.
Last night, the Iranians struck the home of Benjamin
Here we go. Here we go. Right here. Here we go. Let's go.
Netanyahu. They killed his brother. They struck the home of Ben Gvir. He is seriously wounded, may not survive.
So Iran is being very defiant.
Iran is going to start to take out the totality of Israel's leadership. This is the reality of this conflict. Israel played the regime change game. It's going to be the Israelis that are going to be paying the highest price. The Iranians are no longer.
And that's what I believe. Israel is going to pay the highest price.
Wearing kid gloves. They've taken them off and they're coming in bare knuckle.
So there it is right there. Trump said if they don't humble themselves and sit down, then, you know what I mean? It's no deal. Iran is saying, nah, The kid gloves are off. We're going to fight until we can't fight no more. So do y'all see an end to this? Because I don't.
They're reporting it. This is interesting. I looked it up as soon as you said it. The BBC is reporting it as Ben Gvir was in a car accident last night. Does that surprise you?
They can report it any way they want. We know that his home is on fire. So maybe he crashed his car into his house.
That's interesting. I mean, the only reason I just can't help but be amused by this, because it would not surprise me for the BBC to provide cover for a story like this. Yeah, you and I
now know that the BBC reporters that work overseas are vetted by MI6 before they're allowed to take on their assignments.
There it go right there. It's on fire. Now, damn it, gang. That's about it. That's my update on the war. We get ready to get into Zorro Ranch, gang. They started the investigation. They all gathered Sunday at the ranch. We get ready to get into it. I'm hoping now, you know that they said the 2 foreign women are, died there and they're buried there. So let's get into it.
Let's
now
back up.
This
So
right
why-
here is the reason why Jeffrey Epstein purchased this ranch. He's telling some of the truth, but not all the truth. Let's go.
Why did I buy a ranch in New Mexico? 1993. So that gives you some sense. So I would have funded it in 1990. Los Alamos, which was the high energy lab up in New Mexico, was losing all its scientists.
Now listen, scientists, pay attention, gang, because he was definitely doing some things with science. It's just not what he's saying right here.
Los Alamos, it was where Oppenheimer and where the nuclear weapons program, the bomb.
That's where the Manhattan Project.
Manhattan Project was
Yes,
as Los Alamos, and you bought your property out in New Mexico to be near that?
Yes, because the scientists were going to be, they cut the funding for high energy physics. But the people.
Now, if you guys could recall, for the ones that seen my initial Zorro Ranch live stream, I showed you how many scientists he was tied to. It was many. It was at least 10.
Who worked in Los Alamos would still be in the Santa Fe area.
They cut that because this was the Cold War dividend, right?
I don't remember exactly why. It was because, again, people thought that physics and high energy physics really wasn't that important.
Because that was about nuclear weapons.
No, it was because they decided, which may be not right. This was the same time that Murray Gell-Mann came up with the term quark, Q-U-A-R-K. He picked it out of an old poem, the word quark, but it was mysterious. So,
and you guys is going to see how he told half truth here. He definitely told half of the truth here.
They were starting to understand in the 90s that in our world of the physics world, there was things that were just unexplainable. They called it strange things. You gave it a name. You gave it some characteristics. You called it had charm, was one of the terms. It had a charm. It had a flavor. It had a color. But no one, Mr. Bannon, understood what it was. Just like the financial system.
And you wanted to investigate that?
I wanted to see if we could build tools so others smarter than me could help investigate it.
And
that's not what he was doing at that ranch.
Was the beginning of your concept of the Santa Fe Institute?
Yes.
And Santa Fe Institute was founded to do study in this type of...
Can these areas of strange things be described by some form of mathematics?
This is Sunday. They all gathered at Zorro Ranch. Some of the survivors was there. Virginia Guthrie's brother was there. There was a lot of people. Look how big. This land is huge. Y'all see that cross? It says Epstein on it. That's crazy. This was the kickoff of the investigation, gang.
We have some major news that happened that not enough people are talking about. The first ever search of Jeffrey Epstein's New Mexico ranch, Zorro Ranch, began yesterday and is now continuing.
This is the only property that they did not raid. I'm hoping and I'm praying that they find something, but it's been years. They could scrub this place clean.
Into today and into the rest of the week. Reuters confirmed that investigators are on the New Mexico property. That is one of the properties where Jeffrey Epstein abused children. We have confirmation of that abuse. There were allegations that there were girls buried on the property. We now know that according to Reuters, New Mexico investigators are searching the property. There were dogs and police on the property. The first ever search of that property. Let that sink in. That is a huge development because it wasn't searched when Epstein was arrested. It wasn't searched when Maxwell was arrested.
And
it wasn't searched.
They've had more than enough time to clean that place.
In advance of those arrests. Wasn't searched afterwards, but it is being searched now. We'll see what happens. We need to keep pushing this story forward. I'll keep working to do that. As always, spread the word. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
30 miles south of Santa Fe, on a desert ridge, a mansion sits on 7,500 acres of empty land.
Now, this is going to tell you guys exactly what he was doing in here.
This is Zorro Ranch. Jeffrey Epstein bought it in 1993 from a New Mexico governor's family.
Remember, I told y'all it was offered someone in government and it was sold to someone in government.
He built an airstrip, a helicopter pad, and a compound where victims say they were trafficked for decades. He told scientists he wanted to impregnate 20 women at a time to feed the human race with his DNA.
Remember, he said he got up with those scientists and this is what he was using it for.
One survivor recalled being laid on the floor as a teenager, surrounded by photos of Epstein with celebrities and politicians. The FBI raided Epstein's homes in New York and the Caribbean, but Zorro Ranch never searched. In 2019, federal prosecutors told New Mexico to halt its investigation, promising to share evidence. The state handed over everything. The feds gave nothing back.
So they gave
unsealed FBI files.
They gave everything to the feds, and the feds did nothing. This is more proof of the cover-up.
Reveal a tip. 2 bodies may be buried in the hills on orders from Epstein and Maxwell. New Mexico has launched a truth commission with subpoena power. The criminal probe is reopened. For the first time in 30 years, someone is asking what happened here. The people who visited that ranch, who flew on those planes, whose names fill those files, are still free. And every day without prosecution tells survivors power protects its own.
So he basically wanted to see what the world would be like with a bunch of Jeffrey Epsteins, little Jeffrey Epsteins running around. Sick.
One of the properties that Epstein held was his Zorro Ranch here in New Mexico. He purchased that property in 1993, and already by 1996, there was an allegation of sexual abuse at that property.
So 1996, there was an allegation. They did nothing.
That was reported to the FBI. But why did the FBI never fully investigate it? Then subsequently, there were multiple other allegations made to both state authorities, to Santa Fe police, to the FBI. And for whatever reason, they were never investigated. There was never a warrant issued to investigate that property. And when I went to go view the unredacted files last week, I specifically went in to see if there was additional information in Zorro Ranch, which was not public. And the answer is there is absolutely information in those files. There are pieces of those files that are public that are redacted. And certainly I encourage the public, reporters, and anyone to look at those files.
Now remember, y'all, I told y'all somebody that was working there was the one who made the statement about the 2 women being buried there.
But there are also allegations not only of rape and assault of women and girls, but also men and boys in the files that I viewed. And the allegation, which had been on, kind of circulating on the internet, of the potential of 2 women who had been trafficked to New Mexico being strangled during a sex act and buried on the property. That was reported to the FBI, and I viewed the FBI information on it, and I absolutely believe it needs to be investigated.
So they did nothing. They did nothing when that staff member went to the FBI and told. They did nothing with it.
The internet is going crazy right now about what may have happened inside of this tunnel in New Mexico. So this tunnel is off of the 84 in New Mexico near Santa Fe, and it seems to have been referenced in the Epstein files. So as you can see here, there's the EFTA number in the bottom right-hand corner, and this appears to be an email sent by a potential survivor/victim to an officer, and this person seems to be describing an event that happened in the tunnel. So they say here, I was not a prostitute before meeting Mike Levine. I don't know who Mike is. It was he who forced me into it, threatening the life of my niece. If I had been in prostitution, he would have never had to do this. I did what he asked or forced me to do. I told him it hurt, but he didn't care. He had a mission, and he accepted what he did to me as collateral damage. I understand I was an adult then, but wanted you to know that Ghislaine was procuring young girls before 1994. To me, she was the mastermind behind the scheme.
And I've told y'all that 1,000 times. Without Ghislaine Maxwell, there would be no Jeffrey Epstein.
And they basically talk about Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, trafficking this woman, doing terrible, terrible things to her. But she keeps referencing this tunnel. Right here, they state, there was an error in my last email. The tunnel off roadway 84 is on the left side of the road, 84, not right side, as I stated in the earlier email. The large turnout is nearby tunnel entrance and is also on the left side of 84. The tunnel is hiding in plain sight. And then down here, she also states, as you can see right here, M. Levine introducing me to Maxwell/Epstein was around the same time of the pictures I sent you, and him taking me to the tunnel. I feel it was all done to terrify me into submission. I appreciate you and others allowing me to purge what has been tormenting my life.
So outside of the ranch, I'm hoping, that they go in this tunnel
For nearly 40 years. I hope it helps you knowing she was doing these terrible things in the early 80s. So this seems to be an email ratting on Ghislaine Maxwell, but the internet is talking about what the hell happened in this tunnel. And obviously I'm curious as well. This seems to be something that terrified this victim, and yet the email before this is not present in the Epstein file. Nobody has been able to track down the message sent by this alleged victim/survivor, which would contain the allegation of what allegedly went down in that tunnel. However, people have been able to find the tunnel, or what they believe is the tunnel. And I was actually just in New Mexico last week. If I would have been there right now, I would have gone out here to check out, what potentially could be in this area or inside of the tunnel. But I do know that whatever allegedly happened here doesn't sound too good. Interestingly, also on the post that I found talking about this tunnel, there were a number of what seems to be bot accounts that were attacking the original poster. And a lot of people were commenting saying, wow, the bots really came out for this one. You're on to something. So it's
just because bots come in don't mean you're on to something. Bots is bots, but
seems like this tunnel has some sort of importance, but we just don't know what that is. I'll keep you guys updated though if I find out more.
What you're about to see now is not a...
Now I want y'all to see this because this goes more into depth about the scientists, what he was doing, the babies. Supposedly it went down at Zorro Ranch.
Conspiracy theory, it is a paper trail. It's victims' testimonies, it's legislative documents, it's corporate press releases, and archived web pages. And when you line them up, asset by asset, you don't get closure on Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. You get a story about eugenics, transhumanism, and
Again, that's what he was doing with those scientists. When I showed y'all that clip of him telling the purpose of purchasing the ranch, he told half truths. He was dealing with a bunch of scientists.
Baby farm that the political class suddenly pretends it just discovered. This is a 10,000-acre compound in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, with its own airstrip, a bizarre temple-looking building, as well as signs of huge underground infrastructure. Now, for decades, Epstein's Zorro Ranch sat there quietly. He was arrested in 2019. He died in August of that year. That was 6.5 years ago. And only now in 2026 does New Mexico's political class decide, hey, maybe we should look into this. Now, the obvious question is, why did they wait until the crime scene could be completely sanitized? The New Mexico House of Representatives.
That part, that's why I'm hoping when they go to dig, they find something, just something.
Approved House Resolution 1, creating a special committee to investigate Zorro Ranch and allegations of criminal activity and public corruption tied to that property. Now, the resolution explicitly notes that Zorro Ranch has been the subject of great public concern since at least 2019, and that previous legislatures did nothing. It empowers this committee to hold hearings, compel witnesses, administer oaths, and issue subpoenas. It can operate through the end of 2026. So they can drag people in under oath and demand documents.
The end of 2026 is not enough time.
The land commissioner has also called for state and federal investigations. But again, Epstein's been dead for over 6 years. So how much physical evidence at this ranch is still untouched? Now, here's where things get eyebrow raising. Less than a week ago, a woman went out to Zorro Ranch and filmed what she saw. Heavy.
Peep this. There was somebody digging before they started the investigation.
Equipment, excavators out on the property, clear signs that the ground had been disturbed before the New Mexico House passed this investigative measure. Watch this.
What you're looking at is the main house, and don't be fooled, it is miles away from the road. Also, to note, there is some digging equipment, and that has not been here when I was.
Y'all see that circle right there? There's a circle right up there. They were digging right up there. That's crazy.
Here previously. This was a house from a similar angle in November, and it's looking a little different over on this side.
Okay, so ask yourself, if state lawmakers are just now giving themselves subpoena power, but there are excavators on site ahead of that, is this a serious criminal investigation or a cleanup operation with a committee bolted on afterward for show? Especially when we've seen how pathetic the official Epstein investigations have been in the past. And at Zorro Ranch, there's a decades-long obsession with eugenics, designer babies, cloning, and using this remote compound as a literal baby farm for his.
That's what he was using it for.
Own DNA. So for a moment, leave aside the murder, the blackmail, the political connections, and let's look at the mad science. So 10 days before Epstein died, the New York Times published an article titled, "Jeffrey Epstein Hoped to Seed Human Race with His DNA." Now, the article quotes multiple scientists and businessmen.
That is some sick stuff. Could you imagine a bunch of Jeffrey Epsteins running around here? I think I'm gonna do something on those brothers that just was convicted. They claim that they did something to a young lady at an Epstein party, but I got to look more into it.
Men who say that starting in the early 2000s, Epstein was openly talking about using his New Mexico ranch as a base where women would be inseminated with his sperm and would give birth to his babies. He reportedly envisioned as many as 20 women at a time impregnated at Zorro Ranch.
Remember the young girl's diary that we read off the other day?
One participant at a 2006 conference remembered Epstein talking about, quote, perfecting the human genome and being fascinated by how traits pass on and wanting to create superior humans.
That is, he talked with Bill Gates about this too.
This Epstein talking to award-winning scientists about turning Zorro Ranch into a eugenic-style breeding facility.
All right, Diamond Gang, that is it. Let me remove this. I am definitely going to keep up on the Zorro Ranch investigation to see what comes about. And y'all know I'm going to stay up on what's going on with the war. I can't help it. I'm addicted. It is what it is. But let me take a look at some of these comments. Oh, wow. There's a bunch of comments. Hold on. Let me get to the most recent. I'm sorry, guys. Listen. When I'm playing these clips, I'm rewatching them all over again. So I'm into what's going on. So let me scroll down a little bit. You said the eugenics angle is called. I believe it. You said pizza, panda, and babies. Yep. That's what? You said that's probably why Bruce Jenner lost it. Those Kardashians are those kids freaking evil. Yeah. Let me see. Y'all, please subscribe to the channel. Let's see. Hollywood elite drug made from children age 1 through 12. The most expensive drug on the market. Hold on. I'm trying to read some of y'all comments. Sweet Chili, what's up, baby? How are you? You said, is that Zorro? They swept, I know, about a week ago, they did the same thing at Little St. James, but you didn't see that on the news, did you? No, I didn't. I didn't. I didn't know that. You said that they went, when you say swept St. James, you mean swept it clean? If you're still in here? That's crazy. Yes, madness. Yes. Gang, please, once you subscribe, please consider being a member. I want to start my members only live soon. I want to do that. So you said, yeah, the FBI. What's up, Rage? That's crazy. I mean, I knew that they went. Now, this is from my understanding. They went to Little and Big St. James. They went to New York. They raided that. But you know, the only thing that I heard that was untouched was Zorro Ranch. So you're telling me that they went to Little St. James later on down the line? Is what I'm saying. Or you saying recently the FBI was there? Put it in the chat so I can understand what your question is. Yup. Oh, what? That's good. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you guys came back. You said, I mean, the Kardashians are those kids. Epstein was make them the Allen boys and probably more. Yeah, I could if he could get to them. You know they trying to tie him to John Benet Ramsey. You know that, right? I don't know. For some reason, because I seen all of that play out and I was a little younger back then. And for them not to know still to this day what happened to her, I just didn't want to, I don't know why I didn't want to put that out there about John Benet and Epstein. I just didn't feel right about it. If I don't feel right about it, I'm not putting it out there. I hope and pray that he didn't have nothing to do with it. Yes, we know King's brothers and unks is in trouble. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to put that out about John Benet Ramsey. Yeah, that was a lot. But they're trying to say that there is a picture of someone that got an outfit on just like John Benet had in a picture, and she was on Epstein's shoulder, but of course her face has been redacted. But they're trying to tap Epstein into little John Benet Ramsey. So yeah, those brothers. Ugh, I think I might get into them. I didn't say Trump was a king. You said Trump is not a king. He's a moron. I never said Trump was a king. Who said that? You said Andrew might end up in a council property if he... Man, this is going to be crazy because I believe somebody's going to start talking. What up, Meek? What up, bestie? I think somebody's going to start talking. I do. I really do. So we will have to see. That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't say Trump was a king. I don't know who said that. I've been doing lives on him for weeks now. I never said that. All right, Diamond Gang. I've been on a little over an hour. Y'all know I do 45 minutes to an hour. So, hey, I'm off tomorrow. I might look up some other things to get into. I definitely want to peep those brothers that got sentenced. So, and see what they was into. Yeah. They said he's acting like one. They said Trump is acting like a king the way he running around here. Yeah, he is. Andrew is definitely Like, he embarrassed. You figure his mom stripped him of most of his titles before she left this earth. You know? So, Fergie's about to get it too, you think? Right. He ain't king of shit. But they said he running around acting like one. That's for sure. Diamond Gang, please make sure. Hit the like. Subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on. This is an open platform. I normally drop the link. I'm not tonight. I'm a little exhausted. And I got some personal things going on. I was about to cancel this live, but I said, no, I can't disappoint my people. I can't put that up there. But please make sure, gang, keep your notifications on. I will be back tomorrow for sure. Because like I said, I got the day off. So I'll get a chance to go through some content. So, but I want to thank everybody for showing up and showing out for me today. Thank you to all my beautiful mods. And I will see you guys on the flip side. Take care, be safe, and have a good night, gang.
It's your under degrees. Sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea.
Let me say this really quick. I'm going to answer your question before I leave. I don't hate anybody. I don't. Hate is such a strong word. I don't. So, and you're entitled to your opinion. This is an open platform. But I don't. I had to make that clear. All right, gang. I'm out.
Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under degree, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea.